Yo, what is going on, everybody? It's Brave Cat here once again with another Frontier Signals update. So I implemented those changes a little bit late last night, but anyways, we've got some various things. I did a couple additions here to this star map, added North Node and Chiron, and just made the events a little bit better. You know, better buttons, and I think the main thing here was going to be this paper that I released. So this one is specifically for Albert Einstein and Charles Hapgood. Pretty pleased with how this turned out. There's still maybe a little bit of formatting and just kind of polishing up I could probably do with these papers to kind of split up the sections and make it maybe a little bit more readable. But I do plan on having audio versions for all these papers at some point, because I get it. A lot of people don't like to read, or they don't care to read, or they can't read. So, you know, don't worry. I'll have an audio version for anybody who's too lazy to actually read these. So anyways, let's just get right into today's update. So pretty surprisingly quiet so far, even though we're pretty much into the kind of mid-afternoon here on the 19th. We have not yet seen anything on the KP index, which is pretty surprising because that first flare was definitely supposed to hit us by now. So I'm not really too sure what happened with that. But we do have the other two main flares. Oh, every time. Alright, sorry about that. I try to keep that muted when I record, but I've been really bad about that lately. So anyways, we have multiple flares coming at us here, and it looks like two of them that are behind the flare that, again, should have hit us by now. Although maybe not. I don't know. But anyways, those other two, looks like those have combined. So definitely going into the weekend here, we are most likely going to see some pretty significant geomagnetic storms, especially considering we have those coronal holes. And this is like the most kind of updated image here, so that's where those are at right now. Looking at the far side images here, we have a couple of the regions have kind of merged into each other. And again, we'll just have to see what these actually look like, because, you know, I don't know how accurate these images are, because they're literally looking through the entire sun with those sound waves. But other than that here, we've got the other sunspot images. Not really too much going on there. Pretty much the same thing that we saw yesterday. This other region has not really done anything. And this one has stayed pretty much right where it is in terms of the magnetic complexity. So we'll just be awaiting the effects from these CMEs. But it looks like not really much going on for tonight. So, alright, moving on to the earthquakes and a few other things to cover here. So this is the past few days on the tremor map. Looks like we've had 3 different groups of tremors or slow slip events on here, kind of leading south into Northern California. And then over on here, it looks like in the last several hours, we've had another uptick of 4s and 5s over here up by Kamchatka. This region just has been incredibly unstable for years now, so that's not really too surprising. As well as, again, on the volcano feed, we've got this one up in Kamchatka, Siviluk, or however you say that, a 36,000 foot high blast. So pretty notable, pretty significant, but, you know, luckily it's not in a, you know, super populated area. And other than that, in terms of volcanoes, haven't really seen a whole lot on here. Still have that Ornaise volcano in France going off. You know, it's kind of similar to how Kilauea is at this point, in terms of how the magma is flowing out, or sorry, how the lava is flowing out. Magma is what is inside the mountain. But yeah, I don't really see anything too eye-popping here. But a little bit of an extended list from the last couple of days. So anyways, continuing on here. So it looks like up in Alaska, it's kind of hard to tell because the way it is, but these ones raised a little bit higher off the globe are going to be slightly deep. Looks like to be, I think, kind of in the 80-ish kilometer range for a whole bunch of these. And these are all, you know, 0s, 2s, 1s. But they're all, you know, kind of a similar depth. And then we've just kind of seen some of the usual stuff here. Nothing really beyond a 3 in the last day. So that's something, but we still have all these same tremor swarms ongoing. And then we got a 5 down here. Seems to have kind of filled in these spaces in between. And, you know, in terms of earthquakes, I don't really see too much else going on here. Take a look at Italy, and we do have a couple of them that are above magnitude 3. And I've been looking at this, you know, pretty closely for a number of months. And, you know, this graph up here has been doing all sorts of stuff. But it's like, you know, I'm pretty sure it said, you know, 70, it's been hovering around 70 M3 quakes for weeks now, even though we've had several that are above M3, so I don't think they're even reporting this chart correctly anymore. But we do have a couple more things. There's not really anything by the volcanoes, which is good. 3.9 up in the mountains. And let's see, we got a 2.6, 280 kilometers deep. Okay. Got a 3 over here, pretty shallow. But overall, not a whole lot going on there. So just the last couple things here. Looks like there's a cyclone, category 3, striking Australia right now. Looks like it is just now making landfall. And so that's something going on, right? Looks like it's going to pretty much kind of graze the whole north end here. So, you know, don't think these areas are too populated, but I mean, I don't know much about Australia, but hope for the best for anybody who's in these regions. And then likewise, bringing things over here in the States, looking at these fires once again over here in Nebraska. So the Morrill fire is almost 650,000 acres and 67% contained. And then we got down here the Cottonwood fire, 128,000 acres, 78% contained. That's a bit of an improvement. 35,000. And then up here we got another one, another 17,000 acres. And then even one up here at almost 10,000 acres. So lots of stuff's on fire, and it's pretty unfortunate. Again, this is all mostly farmland, especially for cattle and ranching out here. And, you know, between this and, you know, China and Bill Gates and all these other freaks buying up farmland in the United States, I mean, they really want to collapse America, and it's not good. So, you know, if this is just contributing to that, you know, definitely not really a good sign for food, agriculture, and just the overall supply chain, you know, not really too good for that. So I guess we'll just have to, as usual, hope for the best and prepare for the worst. But other than that, I think that'll pretty much do it for today's update. Yeah, so hope y'all enjoyed, got something out of it. Please like and subscribe for more. Share this video if you dare, and I'll catch you all in the next.